Since we were talking about planes and flying, how about jumping from those? Can you go to the Did you guys like that?
You?
Maybe that's what we should do too.
Yeah.
Train on the job. So I'm here. The reason why I'm talking and giving this, it's not a presentation, it's not a talk, it's just a friendly discussion, is because we've learned a lot here at PLD. But what about doing? So I joined a new company 2 days before Model 2. So I'm going to tell you a story, and this is no slides, no case studies, no text. I joined Dell EMC, this company right here, 2 days before PLD, coming to campus Model 2. So I was here learning, absorbing everything, the congruence model, oh, here's the split model, here is exploit explore. There are like so many things, boom, boom, and I'm absorbing it like a sponge because I had to go back and start a new job. And I had not changed a job for like 11 years. So I was like that Mercedes, what you watched at Havas. Like, oh, this is it, this is the world. So I'm gonna talk about doing. Like I tried to do certain things, some things worked, some things did not work. And I'll be brutally honest, the things that did not work. So that some of this, I'm pretty sure, how many of you people here, our friends, would be at some point pursuing a new opportunity, a new role, a new assignment? Raise of hands. At some point, next 5 years? Yeah? So it's important when you step into a new environment, how do you apply everything you've learned here the last couple of months, reading those close to 100 case studies, painful. How do you apply it? It's all about doing. So what do you do with it? So I'm going to talk about what worked, what did not work, what did we learn. So this is what you saw that video. The day I joined EMC was the day this massive merger took place. That Dell Technologies, I was joining EMC, I had an offer from them, I was joining them, and Dell bought EMC for $67 billion, took it private. These are the two guys who did it, Michael Dell and Joe Tucci. World's largest private tech merger. I was like, oh, thank you, to make things even more complex. So this was a massive merger, which means I see two congruence models, Dell, EMC. I see a lot of complexity here. I see culture. I see where this are now with the journey. So I'm trying to really make an impact really quickly because the start date for both companies working together financially is guess when? February 1st, next week. So I have 3 months of time to listen, learn, and lead. So I'm going to talk about what I did. This is October 17th, the Monday after we went back from PLD. This is 6 a.m. in the morning. I was the first guy into the office because I wanted to absorb everything, start doing this. I was like, I want to do this. And there was one more guy at that parking lot at 6 a.m. This guy was my global head who was coming from Hewlett Packard into this company. Fortunately, he was starting that day. So we shared a lot of notes because he's trying to read the context, see what's the culture, what's this. At 6:12, after a cup of coffee, in the US you drink a lot of coffee, I called up my boss's boss, who was on the East Coast, which is 9 a.m., and I asked him the first question, can you describe the culture at EMC to me? You know what he said? It's a hero culture, which means these are like superheroes. These are the Mercedes, Lone Rangers. There's no teamwork. On the other hand, I asked, what's the culture of Dell? It says 100% teamwork. Two different business models. Dell, I hope everybody knows what Dell is. You have these computers or your PCs or whatnot. Dell operates at a very high volume, millions and millions, and their margins are very low. So their business model is very cost conscious, heavy on metrics. While EMC does business with like 3,000-4,000 companies, the biggest in the world, and doesn't care about margin. It's all employees, relationship, customers. Totally different business model. So I was like, oh, thank you. It's pretty interesting. Let's see how to simplify this challenge. So this is the first challenge I set out to do, which is hero culture, make it a team culture. Easier said than done. This is what the video I watched of Mercedes. She's like, oh, ideas are in my head. Like, that's what, this is my team on week 1, day 1. And they don't want to change. The average age of my team at EMC, their tenure, was at least 10 years. And we were going to merge with Dell, which means we have to adapt to this new world order of teamwork, of everything different. Imagine how much fear everybody has in their mind. Imagine you are that employee. You are scared. Like, what's going to happen? Like, first of all, am I going to lose my job? Number 2, what's going to happen with this combined company? How do I survive? How do I repurpose my skills and perform? Like, there's so many, it's fear. So I had to try some techniques that I learned here. Some of them worked, some of them did not work. I tried to apply, each hero that you see here is a hero because it's a team behind that hero. In terms of technology, people, all these, when you saw that video of people jumping out of the plane, you saw these so many company logos. These are all the companies that EMC acquired, and we are at the center of leading all of them. Like my customers are Google, Apple, SAP, and it's a lot of responsibility with one guy. The superhero has to perform, but he has a team of each of these specialists at different companies like VMware, Pivotal, RSA, VCU. There are like 20 such companies. These guys work with these guys. So these guys, they're ego. You know this guy on the left? Would you categorize him as he has some ego? So my team, each one of them, their ego is through the roof. Oh, I'm the Apple guy. I bring in the big bucks. I'm the Google guy. I bring in the big bucks. So I'm an outsider coming into this environment, very challenging. And I was like, I think I'm gonna fail. It's very difficult to adapt this. So the first thing I tried to do is build community. And go from this hero culture that I'm important, nobody else is important, to everybody's equal. So the first meeting I had with the team, before that, I had individual coffees and lunches with each of them. And I figured out, I asked them this simple question, like, who do you typically go out to lunch with? I was trying to decipher their informal communication network. Like, where does all the water cooler talks go to? Who is this one guy that everybody talks to? And he has the pulse of what's important around here. that's how I deciphered that, you know what, if I keep telling them change, it's not gonna happen. In that meeting, I had this guy who was at the center, at the nucleus of this informant network, introduce me and talk about me. That I'm okay. I'm the inner circle. I'm not the outsider. I'm not going to make drastic changes around here. Status quo is fine. Things like that. So this was a technique to borrow credibility, because you don't have credibility. Like, why do I have credibility right now, standing here talking to everybody? Why should you guys even listen to me? I don't have credibility. You have to earn it. So, two things tried: split model, diffuse the structure. Everybody's equal. No one person is more important than the other in this larger team. Everybody pushed back. So that was, I would consider that as somewhat a failure. Next, you see these two companies here at the bottom? This is a graph. The top right is the best. It's a graph of cloud technology. This technology is disrupting the entire industry. Now, this is actually a disruptive innovation. The right word of disruptive, I mean, use it a lot, but Clay Christensen would say this is disruptive. And they define like Uber, like Airbnb, Amazon Web Services is doing it. You know, EMC, Dell, do you see the names here? Not even there. There are two small companies we own whose names are here, VMware and Virtue Stream. But look at how far they are from where they need to be. So way behind the curve. What does this mean? My team, which has been there for the last 10 years plus on average, doesn't know what's going on in the world. And they're going to get replaced eventually. Everybody's in the Explorer, they are here in the Exploit. They are the editors. They are the creatives. These are all the things we learned about. These are the guys with big egos and like, I get the job done, this is how I print, I edit, I'm the guy. Amazon Web Services? Yeah, it took out Oracle there. Yeah. I used to work at Oracle. And that's why, you see, and there are a few other Oracle folks here too. So what's the goal here? Make sure they're open to learning. They understand that they have to change. Nobody likes to say, you're obsolete, you're horrible, you need to change. Nobody takes that feedback. It's like going to the doctor and telling them you need to lose weight. Nobody wants to hear that. So it's a very difficult news to break. So the approach I took was taking a step back with the team and saying, let's take a long-term view. Not this year, next 3 years, but next 30 years. You're going to work in the industry for the next 20, 30 years. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be a company and a culture which is growing, or a company which had the best years in the past? Do you work on a technology that everybody loves and is excited about, or do you want to work in a very obsolete technology? Now this technique, in those one-on-one lengthy conversations, just listening, and inserting that this is the reality, wake up, took a lot of time. It worked with some people, it did not work with others. I would say not evenly, like 4 out of 10 people it worked, 6 did not work. I'm still working on it. A lot of failures, I'm not used to failing. Accountability. This is the number I had just with EMC. The span of control, not just my district, but with combined, what business I can influence. And this is all the business in Silicon Valley and Northern California. 350 million. With Dell coming to the picture, Dell does $750 million business in the same district, same area that I'm responsible for. So my number effective next week has gone up from 350 million to $1.1 billion. Like, oh, thank you. Now it's good to have a big number if you're spending that money, but it's not good to have that number if you're bringing in that revenue. It's a lot of pressure. So the Tariq Khan video was not going to work here. Or firing up their soul was not going to work here. They already do $350 million already. The old trick's not going to work. So while I'm not able to read all of these, I came across this very interesting, I live close to Stanford University. There is this professor called Huggy Rao. This professor teaches a technique called scaling up excellence. Like, how do you scale from 350 to 1.1 billion? And this technique is called a postmortem. What I did, I tried his technique. With a lot of skepticism. Is it going to work? Let's see. This is the guy, and that's his book, Scaling Up Excellence. I'm not advertising, I'm here. It's not at Harvard. Be careful, don't buy it. So he talks about this technique called postmortem. He tried that technique, it works in most cases, but be careful applying it. I took my team, split it into 2 different subgroups, 5 each, sent them to 2 different rooms. I call them this room 102 and 5 guys in 101. This group, I told them, imagine it's a year from now, February 1st, 2018, and you guys crushed your number. Instead of 1.1 billion, you guys delivered $2 billion. How did you guys do it? Imagine you are there in the future. I need to know the reasons. Why didn't you come up with the reasons how you did it? Like, tell me the story. Of course, brag about it. And gave them 30 minutes to think about it and put that on the board. They came up with 3 reasons. The other group, and these were separate, they had no knowledge what's going on. I told them, you guys, I'm so sorry. You landed at 10% of your number. This was a disaster. What did you guys do? What were the reasons why you failed? Come up with those 3 reasons why you failed. And gave them 30 minutes. At the end of this exercise, brought them together. First we talked about why we succeeded, and then we talked about why we failed. And both of their eyes were like, okay. And the interesting fact is, there was a common thread between both. These were the same reasons. If we did this, we'll succeed. If we did not do this, it will fail. And these are things under our control. One of those recommendations was each of the individual, the superhero on my team, works with at least 3 or 4 account executives or global account managers. He works with like 3 different people. He's working on Google, he's working on Apple, Visa, McKesson, so many of them. So he cannot focus. He cannot channelize his energy saying, I'm just the Apple guy or just the Google or just the SAP guy. And that's all I'm going to do with this one guy. It's like, imagine if you're a parent and your 2 kids come to you and say, who do you love more? That's a tough spot. So that's the spot these superheroes are in, because they have to prioritize between 2 or 3 different individuals. The problem they identified was we need 1-to-1 alignment, 1 person to 1. The second thing they identified is the compensation structure, incentives, that's the congruence model here, is aligned for individual performance. I don't care if my Geraldo on my team wins. I really don't care, because I'm paid on my own number, I'm fine, thank you. I'm a lone ranger. So the ask was to change the compensation structure at this level to a team-based structure. If the district gets to a number, you win. If it does not, you don't win. And fortunately, after 2.5 months of crying, pushing, influencing, begging, doing all the influence techniques, they implemented these 2 things. One-on-one alignment, and it went into action January 18th, last Wednesday. There's 1-to-1 alignment, and everybody's very happy that they have to focus with one individual that they're mapped to, they're aligned to, and very few set of accounts they work with. In most cases, just 1. So 1-to-1-to-1. And the compensation structure changed too. It's going to change Feb 1st effective. If they are on a team structure instead of individual. So these are all the levers we played with. First case, the superhero to team, failed. Everybody's a hero. Second thing, worked somewhat with 4 people out of 10. Third, this one worked. But I can't tell you the outcome because the year is going to start and it's a race to $1.1 billion. So I don't know whether we'll succeed or not. So we'll know in the future. So these are some of the things I tried to do to clarify my own thought. You remember this? Yeah. When I left Oracle, I spent hours thinking about what did I learn from Oracle? What can I apply to my next job? Because I was scared. I'm taking a new role. Oracle is a software company. Dell EMC is mostly hardware. They are a public company. These are mostly private. Oracle typically used to buy companies. You heard about the PeopleSoft case. I'm used to that culture, and here I'm getting acquired. EMC is getting acquired by Dell. So totally opposite poles. So I took the time to think it through. I don't have time to tell my team who I am. Before they figure it out for themselves, I have to come up with the way that they understand who I am, what values I stand with. Just at our team level, not at the Dell level, not at the EMC level. Just my value. So I put all of them in this format eventually. Previously it was in pictures, and most of them were funny pictures. And there are some key things that they quickly, rapidly said, oh, this is his belief system. Play by your strengths, live outside your comfort zone, always grow. There's nothing called a status quo. Challenge yourself all the time. And believe in karma, which is help others with the hope that eventually at some point they might help you, but be more helpful to others. So I did a community event in the sense of culture. This is a Christmas party, white elephant. There were not a lot of such things happening before. So I was just surprised. Why can't we just sit together, drink beer, eat cold pizza? Why not? You know? So this is what we did. I hope it will work because I'm trying to still solve the first problem: superheroes to Avengers. And I'll continue to doing until it gets resolved. And by the way, because now I think in cases, after 100 cases in 6 months, I wrote a case. And all PhD friends of mine, you get a $100 discount if you have a rich uncle whose son wants his name out here. I'm going to charge $100,000 so I can pay my PhD fee, first of all, and spare some money so that we can all go party.
Excellent.
So this is what I'm going to leave you with. In complete disclosure, day before yesterday, and this is my PhD journey. I want to share my journey very openly. Day before yesterday, on Tuesday, I got an offer from Amazon Web Services. You remember those guys here? The guys at the top? Got an offer from them. Guess who runs Amazon Web Services? Who started it? His name is Andy Jassy. He went to Harvard Business School. Imagine what he did at Amazon Web Services. Very strong culture. There are no presentations, narratives, like case studies. You read the case, then you have a discussion. This is how decisions are made. Imagine what they focus on, 100% human capital and culture. There's nothing else, 100% culture. I gave an interview a few weeks ago. Half of my friends from Oracle are at Amazon Web Services locally here. So it was a lot of peer pressure. You know, from your old friends, you work with them for 11 years, you build bonds, relationships. The entire interview process was leadership principles, the entire day. 100% of it was culture, 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 culture. So now I'm in this dilemma. For last 3 months, I put my heart and soul and blood into this. And this thing comes along, and that too 2 days before I'm supposed to talk about Dell EMC. And I'll take questions. So imagine I stepped into PLD Model 2, 11 years of Oracle, no change, moved into Dell EMC, did all these changes, applied everything, and now I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But this is towards the end of Module 4. I'll just leave you guys with that. Any questions?
Great narrative. Thank you for the spending the time and talking with us. Question just on the compensation piece.
Yep.
Did you go fully from individual to team without keeping some individual structure in the?
Very good question. This is very key. Compensation incentive is what drives individuals. That's why they get out of bed and drive in Silicon Valley traffic to work, to start working.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of debate about this compensation plan. If we put some people on a team-based incentive versus some people on individual, that's not being fair. That's not being equal. One of those red charts you read, what values, is fairness. Lead with fairness. Because nobody perceives you, so that nobody can question your fairness as a leader. So we had a lot of debate. And this is where we spend most of our time, the compensation plan. And we landed with team-based.
But like it's 80% individual, 20 team, or does that make sense?
The variable compensation part of
It's
their
all
thing is
team.
100%. If team gets it, they get their part.
Mayur, thanks. Would it be relatively easy for you to go to Amazon Web Services, as in a easier route out because they're already number one, the culture's already set, you can pretty much mold into it by the sounds of it? Or would you rather the challenge at Dell EMC, where obviously you've got to bring these people together, the majority 6 out of 10, they're trying to live another culture. I mean, what would you?
So the real question Nelson is asking, and we had these, as soon as I got the offer, I went to my living room. What do you guys think? And they did a major role, Jason, I think you're gonna call. They were skeptical. Like, oh, why? I think you should not do Amazon Web Services. Everybody was skeptical. They were trying to extract this out of me and sell my own self, that I want to do this. They were trying to pull me into this. So that's quite hilarious. I think, I'm not sure. I've made the decision, I'm going to Amazon Web Services, and that gravitational pull is to continue to live in this cultural environment of Harvard Business School, which is replicated at Amazon Web Services. I love being here. I love how we operate and how closely tight-knit it is. It's not metrics driven. So why not continue studying, making decisions every day like you do here? So so I made my decision within 24 hours. It's a decision. It's going to be very difficult to give up because I don't give up. If you get on a treadmill, either I'm going to die on the treadmill, or you are getting off the treadmill first. Very competitive because Oracle makes you very competitive, and that's a big plus.
Two questions. First of all, very interesting presentation. First question, when you align the accounts, what do you do with the accounts that were not covered by the team? Did you have to hire people, or did they go to another team?
So we did a reshuffling. So there are 3 districts: Northern California, Sacramento and above. There is the eastern part of this, and then it's the core. Within these 3, we had some flexibility to take a big picture view and shuffle things around. Shuffle people around to mix things up. So there are few people who actually came to our team from a different district. And with that shuffling, some people were out of a job. Like there was this guy who covered Stanford University. We stopped focusing on certain things. They moved to a different segment because of this reorganization. They didn't have a job. And he's an A player. He's one of the top performers. So my natural inclination was, what I'm going to lead with is human capital. This is the brain operation. I need this guy. I had him put him.
The other question was, so when you went to
EMC.
they hired you to just lead this team, and then you found out you actually have to work on culture change, or integration of 2 different cultures. What was your original job description? You were just going to lead this team at EMC?
My original job description was go in there, get to this number. That's it. But right out of college, I started a business. I failed. It was the BCPC business that you all know of. I made stupid mistakes. I took a loan from a bank. Nobody takes loan from a bank. Second mistake, I opened a telecom business. Nobody gets into telecom, and there are so many big whales and 800-pound gorillas in the world. But you know, when you're right out of college, you have the energy to conquer the world. So I failed very early. And those lessons are still till now. That's why I want to badly succeed, because I failed so horribly. Even till today, I'm paying back that bank loan. I don't pay it off because it reminds me to stay humble, to stay focused, because this can happen all over again.
I'm afraid we're going to have to cut it off because they need to get in here to clean up the classroom
Sure.
before
Okay,
class starts.
and we can talk offline. Thank you.